All right, in this video, we're going to talk about the axis of Gemini and Sagittarius, and we're going to talk about what it's like to have a Gemini ascendant with a Sagittarius descendant. We're going to look at what it's like to have a Sagittarius ascendant versus a Gemini descendant. Then we're going to throw Rahu and Ketu in the mix, and we're going to talk about those two nodes in relation to Gemini and Sagittarius. All right, everybody, welcome. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day to watch this video, and I ask you to subscribe to my channel if you like the material, like it, share it, and then also if you're interested because maybe you have planets in Gemini and Sagittarius, or Rahu and Ketu in Gemini and Sagittarius, you have more questions of how it relates to your life, then I recommend checking out my website and requesting a reading. Anyhow, so without further ado, let's go ahead and start talking about Gemini and Sagittarius. Let's go ahead and pull up this graphic here. Now, what I want you to, so the first thing when talking about this axis of Gemini and Sagittarius, and I recommend to check out my video on like kind of the importance of opposite signs. So check out that video if you want to know what it means to be an axis. Anyhow, so when we're talking about Gemini and Sagittarius, they're two signs opposite each other now. They do share, just like all opposite signs, they share two qualities in common, and that is being a dual Rashi and being a masculine Rashi. So this is about the dual masculine nature of ourselves. So masculine refers to activity, of being active in the world and going from outside of ourselves and initiating. Now, dual, because there's three modalities. There's movable, there's fixed, and there's dual. So what the dual ones indicate is having both the energies of the movable and fixed, but being able to move between them. That's one way of looking at dual. But what I see with dual, because if you look at the sign of Gemini and the sign of Sagittarius, if you were to look at the, so it says here, so like for Gemini, for example, it's often known as the twins. It's really not poorly, but simply described as the twins. But it's about an image of a man with a club and an image of a woman with a lute or a lyre, which is a complicated instrument that makes beautiful music. So it's like you can go about, so Gemini is showing that you can go about things in multiple ways, either as a brute force, and using our strength, or you can go about things to develop our skills and in a technical ability. Now, Sagittarius I have here because in Yavana Jatika, it describes it as an image of a bow. And believe me, I tried to write on here the whole idea of another image of Sagittarius, which I'll describe right now. And this is related to the human/quadruped nature of Sagittarius. What that is it's like Sagittarius is known to be a man with a bow, but has the body of a horse. So it's like a centaur, basically. And so it's a dual nature. It's formed by two different things, right? And what I see with Sagittarius and Gemini, and in fact, what I see with all the dual Rashis, if you look at their images, there's always a duality. There's always two things going on. So it's like, not only is this our ability to be either fixed or movable when the time is appropriate, that's one way to look at the dual signs, but another aspect of the dual signs is we might have multiple things going on at once, or having multiple qualities exuding at the same time. And so it's like our activity in life to be able to, so with Gemini, now we're going to go ahead and start splitting it around here. And we're going to say with Gemini, it's our dual nature being an air sign of exploring more information and working multiple angles at the same time, because Gemini is always looking, because it's about exploration. Gemini is about, we're going to go here, I'm going to see how this works. Gemini is about trial and error. Gemini is about, I don't have necessarily like a singular purpose like Sagittarius. Gemini is like, well, I'm going to explore all the opportunities. I want to know all the information, because it's an air sign. Air sign is about information. I want to know about all the information, all the possible different directions that everything can go, and I might even be exploring two different directions simultaneously. And that's kind of the idea of an image of a man with a club and a woman with a lute, is that idea that it's like, okay, well, I might explore it in two different fashions. I might go about it to develop strength, but also to develop skill at the same time. And so that's the, and then Gemini also I have here as places of amusement. Gemini is ruled by the planet Mercury. Mercury is known about having fun, and Gemini is that. It's about enjoying the things that we're doing, getting involved in the game of exploration of that sign. That's the nature of our lives, of just exploring things in multiple different ways and finding the one that works, you know, but maybe trying multiple different ways simultaneously. It's very Gemini attitude. Now, Sagittarius, on the other hand, is and then I should mention real quick, Gemini is a Rajasic sign, and that's why Gemini is looking at all the options. Gemini is wanting to see what other things it can do. Let's try it over here. Let's see how I can do it over here. Gemini is also about ideas, and Gemini is about attaching like our identity. Let me see how much I like going this way. What's it like going this way? How do I feel about going this way? That's the nature of a Rajasic sign. Now, Sagittarius is a Sattvic sign, and Sagittarius, like I said, I mean, I talked about it being a centaur, but the big thing about Sagittarius is the bow. It's about finding direction. It's about knowing which direction to look because you see the bigger picture, because of the concepts and beliefs, and seeing the structure and knowing that I need to go in this direction. By seeing this is the direction to go and being able to head in that direction. And that's the nature of a human and a quadruped sign. A human sign, like Gemini, for example, is just a human sign. This is all about, because what's the difference between a human and a quadruped? Well, a human is like, we're able to take a look at the information and to process the information and see all that there is to see. And quadruped is about, I'm just going to be heading in a direction. Like, it's kind of and it's more strong. And there's so when we talk about Sagittarius being human and quadruped, it's like I have a vision for where I want to go, and I have the ability to go about it. And that's the why and then it's the image of a bow, and that's why Sagittarius has to do with purpose and goals. And Sagittarius is a fire sign. Remember, fire signs are always opposite air signs. So fire sign is a self. This is about the big purpose and the big goal of where it is that I want to go and heading there. And it's Sattvic, so that means that it's not only is it a goal, but it's a goal that is going to help the greater good. It's going to create more balance, and probably because it's a fire sign, it's going to create more balance in my life, you know, and who I am and what is my real nature. But it's usually about also working for a greater cause, and that's what that human quadruped kind of energy is suggesting here. And so now, so basically the difference between these two signs is Gemini is just getting involved to see what the information is because it's fun. Gemini is about games. Gemini is about being amused and enjoying exploring the various aspects of life and finding places that are fun for us. You know, it's a very enjoyable energy, whereas Sagittarius is more of finding that one direction that we need to go. So now, since we're talking about this, now we can start talking about what the nature of the ascendant placed in, we'll start with Gemini. Nature of a Gemini ascendant with Sagittarius as the descendant. So remember, the ascendant is that horizon line. So they're on opposite ends of the horizon, which is basically who we are and where we're headed in life. So now with Gemini, these people, being a Gemini ascendant is someone who's naturally more comfortable with exploring the information in life that they enjoy, that makes sense to them, of getting involved in the games of life and exploring what it is. Their nature is not necessarily to have one purpose, but to see what each path does, to explore what is there, to see all the paths that are available to them, and finding all the information. So these are the types of people with the Gemini ascendant that are going to more have that energy of like, well, let's see what's over here. Let's see what's over here. What do I want to do with this? What do I want to do with that? You know, what do I think is going to be best for me? But let's see, maybe I'll do this, maybe I'll do that. There are people that can be maybe not necessarily indecisive, but they're actually very much going to make decisions because they've seen what's out there. They've explored what's out there. They've communicated with other people, and they've enjoyed the process. They enjoy engaging in that process, and it's really fun. But the thing with the Gemini ascendant, where they're really putting in the work and where this energy of exploration really gets opened up, is when they move towards their descendant of Sagittarius, and they move from just going from what's fun and what enjoys them and enjoying in the games and their ideas and that sort of nature of Gemini. Once they get into that Sagittarius energy, once they start moving forward with purpose and seeing the one direction that they are naturally just inspired to go because it brings about more energy of who they are, that's when they really light up this energy of exploration. Because once they actually find purpose and meaning, that's where a Gemini's growth is going to be, instead of just being kind of having this diffused energy of just like knowing about all these different topics. Basically is one way to look at it. A Gemini person will be able to talk about 1,400 different concepts, right? Because they love learning about everything. Whereas Sagittarius is about, I don't want to learn about everything, let's move in one direction. So what Gemini people here are, they're again, all other factors equal when talking about a Gemini ascendant, what they're here to do is learning to find a serious purpose and intent for them to go after and a direction for them to head in life. And once they start doing that, that's where they're going to find the most growth. Now let's flip the script. Let's talk about a Sagittarius ascendant. So a Sagittarius ascendant is a person that knows the one direction that they want to go. They see their purpose because of their concepts and their held beliefs, and they see what is best for them and what is this great goal. They have in mind what they want to accomplish, and this accomplishment isn't necessarily, whereas it's a self sign, it's actually, because it's Sattvic also, it's a fire sign that is Sattvic, it's not a selfish ambition necessarily. It's more of an ambition and a goal and a drive that's going to bring them the greatest good and others around them also. And they're the type of person that's very driven to go onto their purpose in life. Now, all other factors equal in the chart, just speaking about Gemini and Sagittarius. So for a Sagittarius ascendant, then what is the best growth pattern, the natural growth pattern for a Sagittarius ascendant, is to actually move into that Gemini area, is to use their goal, not to lose their purpose necessarily or sacrifice their purpose, but to just be aware of, to have fun along the way, to explore the path that they're going, to realize that there's other paths, and to really take a look at the other paths. Because for a Sagittarius ascendant, by looking at the other paths, that'll help them more focus in and realize why they're going where they're going with their own path. So that's kind of the nature of Sagittarius and Gemini for the ascendant and the descendant. Now let's look at Rahu and Ketu. So let's start here by saying Ketu's in Gemini. Again, this is going to be like the ascendant. So what this means is that, but see, the difference is that Ketu represents, like in our past lives, the karma that we're bringing into this lifetime is that we've developed Gemini, and we've overly developed Gemini. We're overly balanced on Gemini and lean on Gemini energy because we've worked with that for a long time in our lives through our past karmas, where we haven't fully developed, in fact, haven't really even developed Sagittarius energy, which is where Rahu is placed. So with Ketu and Gemini, that means that these people are the type of people that are like, well, let me see what else is out there. Let me explore every option before making a decision. Let me see every single possible detail before moving forward in life. And so with Ketu and Gemini, it's like there's a tendency, and every time that they lean into that, well, let me think about this. Let's see what else is there. Let's explore the options. Every time that they do that, they're going to get pulled into Rahu. Because remember, the nodes really are just one. They're one entity that's stretched 180 degrees away. So if you try and lean into Ketu, it's going to be disappointing. It's not going to feel right. It's not going to be fulfilling. It's going to be like, yeah, I know, I don't know. And then it's going to pull you into the area that you're not familiar with, which is what Rahu does. Rahu always pulls you away from Ketu. And so if you sit there with Gemini and you're like, yeah, I'm going to, well, let's see here. What should I do? Well, Rahu in Sagittarius is going to be like, no, it's going to force you to have to make a decision, force you to have to take a direction in life, help you to find purpose. And, be like, what is my fire behind? What is the drive? And so these people are going with Rahu now in Sagittarius. Like they're unaware of finding purpose and drive, of seeing the greater vision and forming one opinion through all of the information available to them. Whereas with Gemini, with Ketu and Gemini, they're just going to want to explore different options. And so every time they try and do that, they're going to be forced to have to find direction and purpose in life. They're going to be forced to only go in one direction. And so that's one of the ways to know it, to define it. There's a million other ways. So let's go ahead and flip the script now. Let's put Ketu in Sagittarius. Well, Ketu in Sagittarius, this is typically the type of people that are used of just doing everything. They're like, all right, this is where I need to go, and I know I need to go here. I see it. I have a vision of what I want to achieve, and I'm very fiery and driven, and will want to do that. And so with Ketu and Sagittarius, the more they lean on that of like, this is my purpose, this is where I need to go, you know, I'm finding meaning, and because of this is where I see things need to head. Every time they do that, they're going to get pulled into Rahu, which is in Gemini, which is going to be about having to explore. So the more that they try and lean into their purpose, the more that they're going to be confused, because there's going to be all these options. They're going to be like, wait, which way am I supposed to go? What's this one do? Because Rahu represents confusion. They'll be confused in Gemini because they don't have the karmic experience, the karmic perspective, or anyhow, they're not aware of how to use Gemini. They're learning how to use Gemini. Rahu represents there's confusion because of a lack of karmic experience in Gemini, meaning, so when they go to use that purpose, they just like, no, I know where I need to go, and this is my focus and my goals. Well, the more that they do that, the more they get pulled into an arena now where they have to choose from 200 different things, where they thought it was just one. It gets split into 200, and they have to learn how to choose this, and that's where it can get confusing, because it's like too much information, right? But it's like a paralysis of analysis, where all of a sudden they're having to analyze all of this stuff so that they can find direction. And so the karmic completion that will happen, all other factors equal, with Ketu and Sagittarius, is this the type of person that will have to learn to see the other options and explore so that they can learn to move forward. It's about really learning how to process information into our drive. Whereas the ultimate karmic kind of realization with Ketu and Gemini, which is to just find one goal with Rahu and Sagittarius, you know, is to learn to find purpose and meaning with the information that they have, and to not just be stuck in wanting to analyze, but has to be about going. So anyhow, we could talk about Ketu and Rahu forever. I know I love to. But anyhow, thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Please subscribe to my channel and check out my website, especially if you want a reading, because you have some questions about this. Add to the comment section below if you have some other input, or if you disagree with what I've said. I recommend that you add to the comment section below. Let's further this discussion. And thank you for watching, and namaste.